So I have 20 minutes. So usually when I speak at HPLT, I have like 40 minutes, kind of break down my life, who I am, and what I do. I'm going to tell you briefly about myself, and then we're just going to talk about how to get in the best shape possible in 3 months. And we're going to really focus on actionables and what you can do to kind of move the bar up in looking better in and out of your clothing. I am not a sports performance coach. I don't do anything with that. I don't do CrossFit. People come to me and hire me to look and feel better and to get in better shape and have better health. That's all I focus around. I live in Larchmont, New York, or I have a studio that I'm working out of in Larchmont, New York. So I work with executive level clientele, people who have demanding careers, families, and I help these people transform their physiques and really take control of their health. I was born in Portville, New York, population 959. My dad was an alcoholic. My mom was 15 years old. My dad had zero interest in me. I grew up with very minimal means, and I kind of had to deal with that and how I saw myself and how I went through life. And the gym, a YMCA, I walked into one day and I had no idea what to do, but I saw all these guys in there and I instantly connected with them and I said, I want to look like that when I grow up. In particular, there was a guy who had a Dodge Viper, and I said to myself, I'm going to be like that guy when I grow up. And so I started going in there, but I was totally confused and totally intimidated about what to do in the gym. But I saw a kid named Chris Tom. And Chris Tom was a couple years older than me in school. And I went to Chris and I said, Chris, can you help me? And he was like, you know, he was a young kid in school. I was like, And I was like, Chris, what can I do? And he's like, you put away all the weights and I'll show you how to weight train. So deal. By asking someone for help, I totally changed the trajectory of my life. By working out and learning and changing how I saw myself, it actually changed how people saw me. Suddenly I became the jacked kid and everybody was asking me for tips. And then I actually eventually built an entire career out of being that jacked guy. And through getting people in better shape, I actually changed my income. And so I managed to become the person that I work with, those executive level clients in a very wealthy town outside of Larchmont, New York. I managed to become that myself as well. I'm one of those people now. So that transformation, I'm going to walk you through the steps that you can take, and I'm going to expedite the learning curve, right? When you go to do something on your own, you have no idea how to do it. I'm going to show you how to quickly get in the best shape possible. The first thing that you're going to request, and I'm going to write on this board, but I don't even know if you guys are going to see it, but is an RMR testing. You're going to go get a resting metabolic rate test. Why? Because this will tell you precise calorie measurement every single day. You will use that data in order to base out your entire diet. Once you know what you need to be able to sustain yourself, you will then be able to decide, okay, do I want to cut? Do I want to lean bulk? If you want to lean bulk, add a couple hundred calories in. If you want to reduce fat, building muscle, weight train, emphasize your protein, and drop down your calories. But the first thing that you should go get is a resting metabolic rate. The second thing that you should go get, and guys, these are not that expensive. A resting metabolic rate test will probably cost you $150. If you loop it in with a couple other things, they'll drop the price. VO2 max. Even though we're concerned about how we look, VO2 max is the #1 correlation with vitality. That means if you have a high VO2 max, you will live a long, healthy life. Why? Because it's going to be an indicator of if you're at risk for heart attack or stroke. So go get your VO2 max looked at. If you have a bad number, people are always afraid about bad news. Listen, you can fucking fix it. I just talked about that. I'm living proof. I got born into a very unideal situation, and you have the power to fix it. Once you have that data, you can start doing more zone 2 cardio and you can increase your VO2 max. I even did. A few years ago, I was a meathead. I was a personal trainer. Was doing okay, but I really wasn't where I am now. My VO2 max was 43. Today, my VO2 max is 52. I went from fair to superior. I have a VO2 max of like a marathon runner, and I don't run marathons. I just put a weight vest on, and I walk on an incline, and I keep my heart rate between 110 and 130 beats per minute. I'll break that down to why a little bit later, but so far we're at RMR, and we're at VO2 max. The next thing that you want to go do is you want to go get your comprehensive metabolic panels, CMP, comprehensive metabolic panels. You want it all, everything. You want to get your lipids looked at, that's your cholesterol, your LDL cholesterol, your alpha lipid protein. These things, they are independent markers. They are the second correlation with how long you will live. So you want to know how your bad cholesterol is doing, and you also want to know how your alpha lipid B is. But if you go get a comprehensive metabolic panel, you will get that information and you will directly know how, again, you can fix it. Because if you have bad cholesterol, it's fixable. If your triglycerides are high, it's very easy to deal with. So those are the 3 tests that I would have you start with and to go get. A RMR, resting metabolic rate, a VO2 max, and a CMP. On top of getting that, you're also going to get your testosterone looked at. We want to know where that number is. As you age, that number gets lower. I'm not telling you to get on TRT, I am, but there are a lot of treatments that you can take once you know the number. For example, you could drop body fat, you could have a more active lifestyle. Maybe your number still doesn't raise. You could also take clomiphene, it's a pill. You can literally raise your testosterone by taking a pill for approximately 2 months. I have a green screen, we're gonna do a video shortly about a guy named Zach Brown. I'm only saying his name because he's approved the green screen. Zach Brown had 300 nanograms over deciliter. It's like pitiful, it's like having a D, right? In terms of like how high your testosterone be, it's like the bare minimum. I put him on, I did not put him on, I am not a doctor. I requested him to request his doctor, very important. I requested him to request his doctor, so we talked to the doctor, and the doctor put him on clomiphene. He's now at 700 nanograms over deciliter, which is an optimal number for a male, an adult male. So, clomiphene, 2 months, a pill. He doesn't even have to take injections every month. I take injections every month, or every week, because I'm about that life, all right? So not everybody needs to do TRT, but I'm in the gym, I'm pushing some weight, and I enjoy it. Those are my 3 starting points for you. And then the next major thing is weight training. You need to weight train. Again, remember, this is about looking better in and out of your clothing. You need to be weight training at least 4 hours a week. If you're working out 4 hours a week, this is the #1 consideration you make when choosing a split, because the more time you have, the better. Somebody who can work out 6 hours a week is going to do better than somebody who can work out 4 hours. Somebody who can work out 5 hours a week is going to do better than somebody who can work out 4 hours a week in lifting. And here's why. Because when you go to lift an object, the major thing that causes you to look better and to get more muscular is actually the neurological adaptation that comes from it. You have to be able to lift heavy weight. And so, if you try to lift heavy weight for an hour and a half, over time you're going to get weaker, right? Like let's say I go up and I do a 1-arm row and I do 10 repetitions with the heaviest possible weight that I can pick up, right? Well, if I go to do that again, obviously I'm not going to be able to lift it for as many reps as I did in the second time. If I go to pure failure, think about Usain Bolt. He's at the Olympics. He's running 100 meters and he gets all the way down and he's pouring sweat. If you said, Usain Bolt, hey, we got to do it again. You got to go back to the start line. Do you think he could run the exact pace he could before? Of course not. 100% of effort is 100% of effort. It's going to fatigue you. It's fatiguing to your central nervous system. Same is true with weight training. So if you are light on time, you need to push yourself very hard. If you have 4 sessions a week, you might want to do an upper body, lower body split. That's one option. Or you might want to do a push, pull, lower body, and a combined upper split. And you want to push each of these sets to near failure. And you want to think intelligently about the exercise you pick. This is what I do for people all the time. I walk them through, like today, I train quadriceps and hamstrings. My first exercise, I picked the lying leg curl because the bicep femoris has worked in it. Second exercise was a hinge pattern because it works the remaining part of the hamstring. And then I picked something like a pendulum squat. Works a lot of the vasty muscles, these 3 down here, there's 4 parts of the quad. Then I did a leg extension because it works a lot of rectus femoris. And then I was like, oh, how am I going to get abductor in here, but I want to pick another quadricep exercise. So I did leg press with my toes pointed out. You don't need to know everything I just said. You need to start somewhere and you need to weight train again 4 hours a week. The last thing I'm going to talk about before, because we're talking about how to get in the best shape of your life, is number 1, RMR, and then making a decision about calories. It's number 2, VO2 max. It's number 3, you're going to get your blood work done. It's number 4, you're going to fucking start weight training and you're going to do it seriously. You're going to walk into the gym intentionally and push yourself. And number 5 is zone 2 cardio, which everybody, everybody wants to be one of the cool kids, right? This is what all the cool kids are doing right now. All the cool kids are doing zone 2. Brian's doing low heart rate running when he runs. That's what he does. That's what everybody, serious people who are running marathons right now, they're doing low heart rate training. All the rave within it right now. For me, I put a vest on and I walk on an incline for 150 minutes a week. I break it up into about 4 to 5 sessions, and I put a ruck vest on because it helps me get into that 110 to 130 beats per minute, and that is what brought up my resting heart rate. The reason that I like it, again, is because when I weight train, I look like my head is going to fucking explode. When I'm squatting, I pick a weight, it's a strategic calculation, and I say, if I can't do this, it's been a good run. I literally am going to do it no matter what and get that rep, right? I'm going to get, if my chart says today I have to get 8 reps, I'm going to get the 8 reps. So when I'm doing zone 2 cardio, there's only one intention with that, for it to be as minimally fatiguing as possible and to be as beneficial to my health as possible, which is why I do zone 2 cardio, because walking on a treadmill with their heart rate at like 110, 120 is not that taxing. Those are the 5 things you should do. Now, for most of you, you probably need to lose 15 to 20 pounds. You're going to do that, like I talked about, by looking at your calories, your RMR. One more thing I would say within that, you want to prioritize foods high in protein, and you want to prioritize foods high in fiber. The more we are knowing about fiber, it's just bonkers for health marker, all of your health markers. It's very satiating. Even this whole craze right now with Ozempic, right? That GLP-1 agonist. Having fiber naturally in your diet actually causes your body to secrete more of that peptide. So fiber is one of the #1 things I can tell you when you're trying to fulfill your diet and trying to get yourself into ideal shape: protein and fiber. What questions do you guys have? Well, as you're dieting, you always think, oh, I need to lose 5 pounds. Oh, I need to... Listen, if you think you need to lose 10 pounds, you need to lose 20 pounds. If you think you need to lose 15 pounds, you probably need to lose 30 pounds. That's just the reality of it. I have met so many guys in my life who think they're jacked, and they just need to lose some weight. So if you're trying to look as good as possible in 3 months, the best way to do is to lose weight. Think about Brad Pitt, right? Brad Pitt's not a big guy, but look at how he looked in movies like Troy, look at how he looked in movies like Fight Club. It's because he's absolutely shredded. 90% of the population looks way better shredded, and listen, building muscle I'm all about, but it is going to take a long time. If you're realistically building muscle, with the exception of getting on TRT for the first time or being brand new to weight training, in a year you might put on 6 to 9 pounds, right? If you start weight training for the first time, if you start TRT, 6 to 9 pounds. If you've been doing it for a long time, like me, I'm weight training for like 3 pounds a year, guys. I'm weight training for 4 pounds, and I'm going into the gym 6 days a week, and I am literally pushing myself on every single rep. If you watch me, like I've had literally clients who I started our YouTube channel who literally watched my YouTube video because they're like, I just wanted to see how hard you push yourself. The other day I was at a gym, a client happened to be in there. It was not the studio that I'm at, but I was across the street. They only had 120-pound dumbbells, and I was doing RDLs. So I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do with these? So I put on some straps, and I did 2 sets of 20 with 120-pound RDLs. And I got done, and a bunch of people were coming up to me, which is like, great, good, awesome. But my client's like, dude, you look like you're going to die. I'm like, that's how you have to look after a set if you actually want to build muscle. I saw a meme and it said, have you ever grown a child inside of yourself as a woman? And the man goes, have you ever tried to grow your calves? But seriously, if you want to build muscle, you have to push yourself very much to the brink. So those are the 5 real things I would tell you to do. And I just want to open up for questions. That's how you get in the best shape of your life. You can also go to jacobzemer.com if you want to get in the best shape of your life. But
I'm going to try a hot topic one here. So,
yeah.
I do all those things.
Yes.
I'm a guy with 300 tests.
Yeah.
Or I'm a girl.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do something that can boost that, not naturally.
Yeah.
How would you recommend for a man who's afraid of, TRT, or a woman who's like, I'm afraid of testosterone in general?
Yeah.
How would you recommend?
I would recommend what I said, which is get on clomiphene. And I know you're saying don't do that, but I think you're an absolute fool if you don't at least do that. Like, I've seen so many cases where somebody's at 300 or 400 and we put them on clomiphene. I do not put anybody on clomiphene. We ask the doctor to put them on clomiphene, and they go up to 500, 600 nanograms over deciliter, and they stay there the rest of your life. And I mean, big people you know. Client that we know in comedy was a billionaire. I had 200 something, and now he has 500 and something, and he just did that. And he just goes about his life. But outside of that, there are a couple supplements like ashwagandha and stuff like that. I believe it or not, I take rhodiola and ashwagandha, even being on TRT. I mean, I'm clearly an advocate for TRT, but I'm on those 2 supplements even on top of it because they have additional benefits. But I have seen those move things up, but not a lot, like 40 nanograms over deciliter and stuff like that. Again, I am not a doctor. I don't pretend to be one, but I help people through this. Like, I send people to concierge service, work with them and have them kind of to meet their goals. But ashwagandha and rhodiola, but there are other benefits to rhodiola, like even like antioxidant capacity, mood. It's a neurotropin. For ashwagandha, it helps with sleep. So I actually take them more for those reasons. I actually take them more for fatigue management than anything, because at this point, like I said, when I train weight train very intensely and very close to failure. So there's a lot of time between running a business. I have 4 employees, right? We at any time have 150 coaching clients. We have the app, all this stuff going on. I mean, at this point, like with what I'm doing, I'm tired a lot, so I use them as fatigue management as well. There's a handful of useful supplements. I didn't talk about this as much, but like creatine, everybody should be on creatine. Everybody should be on creatine, unless you have some prior kidney issues, right? But talk to your doctor, but everybody should be on creatine. Almost everybody. Beta-alanine, if you're a runner, if you do any kind of endurance work, I do not know why you would not be on it. Like if you're doing CrossFit or stuff like that, beta-alanine is a no-brainer. Caffeine is obviously really, really effective, but like lesser ones like rhodiola, ashwagandha are effective supplements to a certain extent. Most people will benefit from magnesium, things like that. But again, the number one thing you can do is go get your labs. You know, like people take just generically supplements. Like if you don't have vitamin D deficiency, why are you taking vitamin D? There's tons of clinics that put people on methylcobalamin. Like I was on methylcobalamin and my B12 was in super physiological levels and I immediately got off of it. DHEA is another simple one that'll increase your bioavailable testosterone. I took 25 milligrams a day. I got my labs done at a super physiological level of DHEA, so now I take it every other day. By the way, DHEA, Puritan's Pride, I'm not in any way sponsored with them. They don't have that kind of budget because I think their supplement costs like $3 for a month, but it will literally increase your DHEA. Like I've seen it and with multiple clients, and even one of the concierge services I work with, they literally send people this $3 bottle of freaking DHEA. It's phenomenal. So, what other questions? Go.
So protein, not so hard to hit for me. Fiber, based on your recommendation, hard to hit.
Selenium husk makes it much, much easier. So finding, like, if you have somebody and they can't hit their calories every day, you know what you do? You get liquid calories. You have a shake at the end of the day. Like if you're trying to bulk and you can't hit your calories, it's so easy to add in a shake. When you're dealing with trying to get fiber, you have to add in those little capsules. So, and you're going to have to take a lot of them, but that's fine. Take 4 of the capsules in the morning, take 4 of the capsules in the afternoon. You're wherever you're at there, I don't know, let's say it's 1 gram a capsule, so you're 8 grams of fiber right there. You can build up that tolerance over time, and then what you really have to do, unfortunately, is be a big boy and have fruit and vegetables. And you just have to. I mean, so many people are just sitting down and not having fruit and vegetables, but they're so micronutrient dense on top of the fiber that there's just so much benefit to it. So I would say every night at dinner, I have 3 cups of some sort of vegetable, Brussels sprouts, broccoli. I also eat potatoes all the time. Potatoes have a bad rap, but I mean, they're so high in fiber. They have such good micronutrients, so that's usually my carb. And by the way, they're a high volume food. You have to eat a lot of fucking potatoes to be the equivalent of a cup of rice. So I can eat a lot of food and I feel full at night. I use a couple of products as well. You know, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to take legendary Pop-Tarts, but I'm in the morning, I'm waking up. I wake up at 5 in the morning. Again, my day is really packed. I start at 5 and I don't get done until 6 o'clock at night every day. I'm either on calls with coaching clients, I'm either on calls with my staff, I'm either working on apps, something like that. So when I wake up first thing in the morning, I'm walking out my door. I have 2 legendary Pop-Tarts, and I think those are each 8 grams of fiber. It doesn't have to be that, but a protein bar is a really easy way to get 8 grams of Quest, 14 grams of fiber, these kind of products. So I would look for I would do selenium husk, I would look for 1 fiber product, and then I would just grow up and eat some fruit and vegetables. And I mean that. And I'm not usually the kind of guy who's like just toughen it up, but really, guys, you've got to eat fruit and vegetables. Having a couple cups of berries at night or having a couple of them in your smoothie, really easy way. And I know it's hard. My girlfriend's a partner in an accounting firm, and I'm constantly just trying to get her, like, here you go, you're going to have to finish your, okay, we have salmon, you have to finish it. I literally do. I'm like, you didn't finish your salmon, and she just looks at me like a little kid and goes back over and finishes her salmon. I get it, but you do have to have fruit and vegetables. That's the number, but selenium husk, and if you had like a Mission Carb wrap, which is just a modified starch, something like that, you'll get another 15 grams of fiber. 2 protein bars, you get another 15, 30 grams of fiber. That's how you do it.
Awesome. Give that for Jacob.
Good job.